Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of WN Movie Talk Podcast, formerly known as We Need to Talk About Movies Podcast. I'm Trev, and I'm joined again tonight by my friend Stan, who is going to join me to talk about the sequel to the film we talked about last time, which was Robocop, wasn't it? So what's the sequel, Stan?
It's called Robocop 2.
How you doing, mate? You all right?
I'm very well, thank you.
Good.
Yeah, looking forward to talking about this one also.
Cool. Stan, you must have enjoyed yourself last week because you're back.
Yeah, well, you sent me some headphones in the post and said, I've sent you some headphones. They're coming, and we'll do Robocop 2, shall we?
Yeah. Forced you. I forced you.
No, I'm joking. No, I did enjoy it.
Last time we spoke as well, and I said my brother Robin has not been sacked off. You know, Stan is just another cog in the wheel.
Just on standby. Yeah. I'm Stan on standby.
But Robin's quit.
Oh.
Yeah, he's jacked it in now. He's a bit busy.
I don't like you anymore.
No, I think I've offended him by inviting you in.
Oh, you're joking.
No, I don't. I said, I hope it did want put out by that. And he's like, no, I've been really busy, and we struggled to get together all the time. So that's half the reason I said, would you be interested in doing this? And you did, and you did. So
yeah, enjoyed it.
All the best, Robin. Thank you ever so much for all the time you've given us on this podcast. Hopefully he'll come back at some point and do a bit of a chat with me about films. But pressure's on you now, mate.
Oh, don't say that.
Everyone leaves me. The thing is, I don't want to stop this because this is the thing I enjoy the most, is watching films and talking about them. So
yeah, you've always loved talking about films.
I know, yeah. So even if you left, I'd just do it on my own. Talk to myself.
Talk to yourself about a film.
Fuck's sake.
That'd be all
right. Have you watched any good films this week, Stan? Watched anything other than Robocop 2?
What have we been watching? I'm, like many people, enjoying The Last of Us. I'm a fan of the computer game. I've been enjoying that. It's an episode a week, so it's you just want to watch it. Other than that, no. That Carnival Row, been watching a bit of that, but I don't really enjoy it.
No, I don't know what that is.
I don't like Orlando Bloom. Orlando Bloom.
I've watched this week. Cohen, my boy, was ill the other day, and I was working from home that day. And then in the afternoon, I thought, I'll spend a bit of time with him. We watched Spaceballs.
Oh, Spaceballs, classic, love it. Yeah. Haven't seen it for a while, but I really like that.
Yeah, it was not as funny as I do remember it. I think Cohen quite enjoyed it. I think it's more aimed at kids, to be honest.
Yeah, I said to you, there's this danger. I think I said it last time I was on, actually, that I go back and watch things that I loved.
Yeah.
And it's just a letdown. You're like, oh. Yeah. Whereas Robocop, last week, absolutely enjoyed that. Yeah. Really good.
Yeah, me too. And this week we're talking about the sequel, Robocop 2. So over on Facebook, facebook.com/WN Movie Talk Podcast, I asked our listeners over there, I've got two questions this week. A, are there any sequels you consider as better than the first film? And B, are there any films that you would like to see a sequel to? Now, it might sound like I thought that Robocop 2 was better than the first film. Let me tell you now, that isn't how I intended that question to sound. But yeah, do you want to hear some answers, Stan?
I would, yes.
All right, Piero Canuti said, I always considered Back to the Future 3 the weak one of the trilogy, although over the years my mind has changed to the third being the strongest out of the three.
See, I didn't go down that trail of thought because trilogies are a trilogy, whereas a sequel, that's different, isn't it?
Yeah. Back to the Future wasn't planned as a trilogy, was it?
Okay, so for me, the second one. But the third one, I just loved them all. I just loved that whole... I love them.
And he's put sequels that never were. Beetlejuice, I always thought, deserved a sequel. Isn't there a sequel to Beetlejuice being planned?
I don't know if it's a sequel. That could possibly just a remake. I don't think it follows on the story.
I'm going to Google it now.
But Beetlejuice is one I thought of myself.
Yeah.
Would I wish they'd done a sequel? And do you know what? No, I don't think it'd be the same. CGI getting involved.
Beetlejuice 2 coming out 2023.
Oh, well, there you go.
Michael Keaton's back. Winona Ryder, Gina Davis, Johnny Depp. They're all back. But it doesn't say anything about Alec Baldwin. And Tim Burton. Tim Burton's directing it again. So
yeah, you saying it's all the same cast and all that. When I was thinking about sequels I'd like to have seen, I thought about Trainspotting. But I wanted not the train spotting they made 20 years later. I wanted train spotting a few years later to see, you know. And it's the same with that one, I think. The same with Beetlejuice.
I don't know. We'll see. Because Tim Burton, I don't know, this Wednesday series has been all right.
I've actually enjoyed that.
Yeah. And then Piero also said, and I heard Tarantino was thinking of making a Vega Brothers movie with Vic Vega from Reservoir Dogs, played by Michael Madsen, and Vincent Vega from Pulp Fiction, played by John Travolta. Would love to have seen that. Nathan Kent said, Dredd definitely needs a sequel. I never watched any of them. Is that Judge Dredd?
Didn't like them.
No.
There was a Sylvester Stallone one, and there was the other one. I just didn't work. Wasn't right. And I'm a massive fan of 2000 AD. I loved the Judge Dredd character. It just didn't work for me.
And he says Empire Strikes Back is an obvious choice for sequels better than the original.
You know what? I didn't even think about Star Wars. Yeah, totally.
And then he says The Dark Knight and Aliens.
I went for Aliens.
Yeah.
I've got two. I've only got two that I can say I think are better than the original.
Go on.
And the other one's Terminator 2.
Yeah, Terminator 2. Actually, Empire Strikes Back, same director as Robocop 2.
Ah, there we go. It's a fact.
Irvin Kershner. I'll talk more about that later. Rob Jones says Godfather 2 is better than the first.
Absolutely.
See, I think they're just as good as each other. Every time I watch The Godfather, I absolutely love it. And I'm always disappointed when it gets to the point where Marlon Brando's killed off. I always feel the film
loses.
It doesn't lose anything, but I'm always like, I really enjoy watching Brando in that role.
With the Godfather film, surely they were written. It was like, right, we're going to split this into.
I don't think it was.
movies.
If you read the book, it's the Godfather book. I think it's pretty much just Godfather 1.
Oh, really? So they are sequels.
Yeah.
So I'm sort of ruling these sort of films out.
No. And then he says Captain America: The Winter Soldier was better than the first Avenger. And then he says Dark Knight, Terminator 2, Aliens. And he said, I would love to see a follow-up to Superbad.
They'd be older and stoners.
Yeah, I can't really remember Superbad. And then Gary Evans says, Aliens over Alien. And I'd like to have seen a sequel to District 9.
Oh.
That was a good choice there, Gary, I think.
That's a good shout. Yeah. That's the best one I've heard.
Yeah.
That's actually really good. Oh, there's one that my lovely fiancée Minna said. She loves 28 Days Later and 28 Weeks Later.
Yeah.
But she wishes that they'd gone further and done like 28 months later and 28 years later and just sort of finished it off.
Yeah.
Because it'd just be nice to see like the civilization collapse and then go full circle and see how it rebuilds itself.
Yeah, interesting. So thanks everyone for your answers. If you're listening to this podcast and you haven't answered any questions before, you need to get over to facebook.com/WN Movie Talk Podcast. Give us a like, follow us, and then you can join in the chat. Always appreciate a good chat, don't we, mate?
We do, mate.
Now, I suppose it's time to talk Robocop 2.
Yes.
So, Stan, you said last week Robocop, one of your favourite films.
One of my favourite films, absolutely.
Iconic, the suit.
Yeah, brilliant, just everything about
Ed 209.
The gore, Ed 209, just everything.
Yeah.
The music,
the violence.
The feel of it, the little adverts in it, the newsreaders, just everything. The whole OCP, everything.
Yeah.
Just brilliant film.
It's a good of satire of where the world was going and where we pretty much are now, to be honest.
Yeah, pretty much. It is.
A lot of the same sort of things going on in this film.
Yep.
But
police are protesting.
The police, they're on strike, aren't they? Yeah. Detroit's gone shitballs, hasn't it? It's like
it's gone absolutely freaking mental, mate.
It's just
it's gone. It's gone. Crime soaring, corruption, just horrible, and of course introduced to a new drug.
Oh God!
Which is the scourge.
Yeah.
Nuke.
This directed, as I said, by Irvin Kershner, who done Empire Strikes Back. I think he had better success with Empire Strikes Back than he did Robocop 2, I'd say.
I would certainly say, it was probably close.
It was close. And Orion Pictures produced Robocop and Robocop 2, and they were sort of holding out for a hit because they was in dire straits. They was going under, and they was like, Robocop was a surprise hit, and then they was like, quick, we got to cash in on this, and they sort of pushed forward for a sequel. Ed Neumeyer and Michael Miner had written a screenplay for Robocop 2, but it was set 25 years after Robocop, and it was called Robocop the corporate wars, and it was going to be about different corporations sort of vying for control of Detroit.
Is this following the comic? Because there was a Robocop comic. I've got the first edition of that, actually. But yeah, there was a Robocop comic.
I don't know. I'm going to talk about a comic in a minute, because then they scrapped that idea anyway, and basically they hired Frank Miller. I mentioned this last week, didn't I? To write the screenplay. And he wrote a screenplay. I don't really know what it was all about, but you can find out, because you can buy the comic book of Frank Miller's Robocop 2. It's basically his original script, but he's done it as a comic book.
There we go. I'm going to get that.
And Frank Miller appears in Robocop 2. He's the little chemist making Nuke in the back of the van.
All right, yeah.
Frank. Call him Frank. That's Frank Miller.
There you go. Facts. We're here for the facts.
Just the facts, ma'am. So, Stan, you've watched Robocop 2. You said you've watched it in 3 parts. Was that because you was losing interest, or?
I didn't get the time. You know, the kids are around. It's like, what are you watching? A bit of Robocop 2. What's he sticking in his neck, Daddy? Oh, it's just a drug called Nuke. Can we put the Octonauts on? So I didn't really get a chance to watch it. But when you said about doing Robocop 2, I was thinking, I remember I liked it, but fuck me, I really enjoyed it.
You did enjoy it?
It's not as good as the first one, obviously.
It's a completely different feel to it, isn't it?
Yeah, you can tell it's a different director.
It almost feels like Batman Forever to me. It'd gone a bit cartoony. It's a bit comic book, isn't it?
Yeah, but it has a bit more credibility.
Yeah.
But what, did you enjoy it though?
I did. I don't know whether it's because I was sort of nostalgic, watching it, thinking, I remember watching this.
Possibly.
I remember the first time I watched it, my friend's dad used to be a bus driver, driving buses over the country, and someone had left a pirate copy of Robocop 2 on the bus before it was even out in the cinema. He come home one day and he's like, "Yeah, you lot like that Robocop, don't you? I got the second one if you want to watch it." We're like, "No, you haven't." He's like, "Yeah, here it is." And we're like, "What?" It was an awful copy, like pirate VHSs used to be.
Yeah.
But it was quite exciting.
Yeah. So that's giving you memory of that.
Yeah. But some bits work, some bits don't. Some characters work. Well, let's discuss it. Let's go through it.
All I could really remember of it was that he gets dismantled. There's a drug. And that Kane gets turned into that robot. That's all I could sort of remember.
Yeah.
But watching it, say, in parts, my favourite scenes in the film, it's when he comes back, when he gets dismantled, and then he goes to OCP and they program him, and he's all polite. I just love that. That bit of the film, until he corrects himself, is my favourite part of the film.
That was funny, wasn't it? Just where he comes back to the station, and he's like... almost like,
he's doing
what the hell is all these movements he's doing? And he's going, "It's a lovely day.
Looking good, Robo."
It's so weird. But yeah, because they put in loads of new directives, don't they? There's that scene where they're around the boardroom, aren't they?
Brainstorming.
Like, is 3 directives enough? What do you want from Robocop? And they're like, well, I think he needs
talking about the environment.
Yeah, talk about environmental issues, and someone else is like, yeah, he's a role model to our kids. He shouldn't go around shooting everyone. He should be more kid friendly. Some of the directives,
because there's one bit of the film, it comes up on a computer screen, doesn't it? And there's a load of them.
Some of Robocop's new directives: Directive 233, restrain hostile feelings; Directive 234, promote positive attitudes; promote social values; suppress aggressiveness. And there's even in there somewhere, Directives 262, avoid Orion meetings.
Avoid Orion meetings.
Talking about the film studio. But yeah, I did enjoy that bit. There's a few good jokes in it. It's almost like a parody of Robocop,
it's
isn't
the bit he's in the car with Lewis and he says, "Isn't the moon lovely tonight?" She's like, "It's still daytime." And he's like, "It's the thought that counts." And then the kids with a fire hydrant, he turns the fire hydrant off and he says, "Waste makes haste, for time is fleeting. A rolling stone is worth 2 in the bush." And then the little kid, "Go fuck a refrigerator, pecker neck. Bad language makes for bad feelings."
Don't you think, obviously, Robocop came out, kids loved it. Orion must have got wind of that, because there's fucking kids all over this film.
Loads of kids in it. One of the main characters is that little kid.
What is that all about? What is that all about?
All the kids are in the baseball outfits, aren't they? Robbing the shop. It's like the Fagin, Oliver Twist and the, Fagin's boys, isn't it? Sort of. Yeah, strange.
It's like, yeah, the kids love this. We put loads of kids in it and then they love it even more. But yeah, the kid, what is his name? Hob.
Hob, that's it. Hob, boy.
Yeah. I mean, that's a weird thing. He's like a 10-year-old boy and he's like the gang leader.
They don't say where he comes from. And he's like, he's really sadistic as well, isn't he? He's like horrible little shit.
He wants to see Robocop's brain. But he has his tender moment at the end.
I want to see it.
Yeah. But I never knew how I took that. Even when I was a kid, I was like, this doesn't feel right. And even watching it now, I'm like, I don't know that I want to see a kid. There's no threat from him.
No.
I can't believe these people are fucking scared of him. They just beat him up and nick all that fucking drugs from his pocket.
Yeah. Give me that nuke.
I don't believe it.
Yeah, to go from Clarence Boddicker to the lad, but it's not. It's Kane, isn't it? I mean, Kane's quite a good baddie. There's no Clarence.
No. What's the actor? Is Tom Noonan? He was Francis Dollarhide in Manhunter. Do you ever see Manhunter? No. It's the very first version of Red Dragon.
No, I haven't
Michael
seen
Mann directed it. I've seen him in other stuff as well.
He's one of them. We've seen him in sort of...
Yeah, he's in loads of stuff, isn't he? But he's a weird character. What do you think of Kane then? What? He's just a bit of a hippie.
It's meant to be like a bit of a Charlie Manson.
A bit of a Charlie
Manson definitely. Cult following. Got everyone hooked on this drug, but then he's hooked on it, which is a bit silly.
Yeah, and then when he goes into Frank Miller and he's like, "Give me the new version," and then he puts it in his neck. He's like, "Oh, it's making my teeth itch. Yeah, you've got too much of this, and we need less of that and more of this." And it's like a connoisseur.
Oh, I'm getting hints of Autumn Musk because I don't know. I mean, I'm not a drug lord, but I've seen enough films to know you just don't touch your own product, mate. Yeah, and in the end, it was inevitable. It was his downfall, wasn't it? Silly Kane.
Oh, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
Cocaine. No Kane.
So, let's talk about Robocop. It starts off...
with an advert, doesn't it?
It does start off with an advert. Magnavolt.
Yeah.
And it's the chap, another chap I recognise. He was Clamp in Gremlins 2, wasn't he?
No. Was he?
He owns the big skyscraper where they work. He's the big boss man.
I don't know.
I think he's also in Scrooged. He's like Bill Murray's nemesis in that, isn't he? He's a really nice guy and he's trying to get Bill Murray's job.
I've got that as well. I like Scrooge, one of my favourite Christmas films. Wouldn't have a clue.
I can't think what the bloke's name is, though.
Is it the bloke doing the advert or the bloke who's getting fried?
The bloke doing the advert.
There's a few adverts, weren't there? There's some weird bits, though. Like the bit with the mayor. The bit with the mayor and the bloke's playing he starts playing the violin. He's got his legs round his head. I'm trying to think what the song is.
That was fucking... It's Born to be Wild.
That's it, Born to be...
On the fiddle. That is the bit that I laughed out loud at. Because he's like a contortionist.
Yeah.
And he's got his legs up. But it's all part of the telethon, isn't it? Because the mayor and City Hall are in debt with OCP and they can't pay it back.
Yeah.
The city is going to go bankrupt and OCP is going to move in and sort of take it over, aren't they? And so he's running this telethon to try and raise funds. And it's just... I just loved it. I just thought, that's brilliant.
I like the character of the mayor. I liked him.
Yeah.
But I've got no memory of any of that from watching it in the 90s.
No, the same with me. I can't remember any of that. So you're saying like the mayor was a good character?
I quite like the mayor, yeah. Bit of I don't know, sort of a Chris Rock type character.
It was a bit Chris Rocky.
He was a bit Chris Rocky. I liked him. But again,
it's quite irate, wasn't
he? There was too much of him.
The scene where he goes to meet the kid. It's just the kid, like he's got all that money and gold, and he's offering it.
Oh, he's wearing a suit.
In his suit. I just don't buy it.
Yeah.
But then RoboCop 2 turns up, and that's another. I mean, there's some good carnage scenes in this.
That was quite a good scene, actually.
Sort of thing.
Yeah,
I did quite enjoy that. And I kept thinking, is the mayor going to get it here?
And the bit where RoboCop 2 kills his girlfriend, doesn't he? She's like caressing him. And she's like, I can get used to it. And then his face goes, doesn't he? And he turns into RoboCop 2. And it's just the way he picks her up and twists.
Twists her head.
Yeah, that's quite a gory bit, actually.
Pretty grim. Yeah, that was good. So OCP are proper bastards in this one, aren't they?
Yeah, and the old man, he looks quite well, doesn't he? I think he looks younger.
He looks a picture of health.
He does, he looks all right.
He's doing all right with the ladies, isn't he?
He's doing all right. He's hot tub. And then Johnston's, now he's number 2.
I think Johnson's a bit of a yes man, isn't he?
Yeah, he's kiss ass, throw anyone under the bus.
He gets the opportunity to sort of create Robocop 2, and you see all the test runs at the beginning, don't you?
Oh, yeah. Some of
They're
them.
having a presentation, but it's just him and the scientist and then the old man, isn't it?
Yeah.
And they're watching it on a video screen. And I actually thought, yeah, that's probably what they'd do, rather than bring Ed 209 into a boardroom.
Up the stairs, crane him in. He wouldn't fit in the lift. How did they get him up? Did they assemble him in the corridor? Did they have a team of technicians?
It doesn't make sense. I was just watching that made me think, yeah, actually, it's a bit mental that they've created Robocop as well, and they're not like just testing him straight out on the streets, all on his own. Give him a gun, send him out.
I felt that whole bit with when they're testing all the new machines, that was trying to emulate the first film when you'd see him with Ed 209. It just wasn't the same.
It wasn't.
It didn't look as good.
It was going more for the laughs, wasn't it?
Yeah, which I think is the wrong way. I think they could have found a bit of a balance. I did like the bit where Robocop lost his mind. He was being overly saying like weird things. I liked that 15 minutes of the film, but I don't think you should have comedy elsewhere in it. It should be blood and gore. And
there was comedy all the way through it, and like OCP as well,
yeah.
when it all kicks off at the end with Robocop 2 going out on the streets killing everyone.
That's right.
And then Johnson and the other OCP executive are walking with the old man, and the executive says, "Oh, serious trouble, there's so many dead and wounded." And then Johnson says, "But there won't be any trouble from the dead." He's trying to like sugarcoat it for the Barcini. But the jokes, they're just too in your face this time. They're not as subtle, are they?
Yeah.
You know, like you said last week, one of your favourite lines is, "Dick, I'm very disappointed."
Yeah.
After the end. And it's just subtle. But this time it's all in your fucking face. It is like a cartoon, isn't it? Even like what I was saying about it felt like Batman Forever. There's a lot of neon sort of fluorescent lighting and stuff, and Batman Forever was very much like that, wasn't it?
They changed his suit. He's got like a purple sheen.
It's like a sheen to it, isn't it?
Yeah. It looked like they'd obviously made it. He could move. It looked like he could move better.
Yeah, his movements in this were just brilliant. Peter Weller was the best thing in this film.
Because you said in the first one that he was really in the zone when his robot moves, but the suit was so clunky he weren't able to pull it off. Where now I think he's got more joints. They've made him more nimble. But yeah, he's twitching.
And it's the way his head turns and his body follows, and it's all very robotic. It's brilliant. It is brilliant.
He did it very well. Oh god, when he gets taken apart and he comes back and he's Murphy with the helmet off. God, I don't remember him. He looked fucking awful, didn't he? He looks. Oh, it's brilliant. His eyes are all like boo. It's like someone spiked his baby food. Boo.
It's obviously it's obviously
it's obviously
a robot they've made. It looks good.
It does look good for the time, but yeah, it just boo.
Yeah, and he's like, it's disturbing, isn't it? He's all twitching and his head's fucked, and they're like, "Oh, he's all right." And they're like, "No, he's in pain. He's in pain."
So he's just had some mushroom tea. He'll be all right.
Yeah. But the scene as well, like at the beginning, you see Detroit and it's going crazy, and it goes from like minor crimes to bigger crime. It gets bigger and bigger, doesn't it? Until you're in the gun shop and they're robbing the gun shop. And I hate the bit where he's like, "Where's the bullets for this gun?" And the bloke's like, "Oh, they're over there. Just take the damn gun." He goes, "Thank you," and then he shoots him. And I just think, you don't need to shoot him. He's just let you have the bullets.
Yeah,
that's what I was saying last week. I hate watching innocent people, and I know it's just making this is how evil this town is.
Yeah.
But then when Robocop turns up and then they shoot him with a bazooka as he's driving towards
massive bazooka,
and blow the car to pieces.
Yeah, they pepper him with bullets as well.
And then he gets out, and I always think, why doesn't his face ever melt?
Yeah, at least he needs some Vaseline on his lips or something, a bit.
But he gets blown to bits. They shoot it twice, don't they? Don't they blow it up twice, and then they all
then they shoot it all, and he just gets
and nothing phases him.
But it happens twice in the film.
Young Hobb shoots him in the head, and he's all twitchy. And his vision's all going, and then he remembers his son.
There's another bit where he gets blown up. He's in the car.
Yeah,
and then they go down to the car, and he's somehow got out. He's hiding behind the building.
Hiding behind the wall. Yeah,
because he'd have got out. Had to put his trousers on because he couldn't wear them in the car. hiding. He's not stealth. I think they would have noticed.
No, I was thinking that as well when he was walking into the building.
Yeah.
And they're all like just all around ledges looking over at him.
Oh,
he's not targeting any of them.
Yeah,
in Robocop 1, when he walked in there, he clocked everyone.
Yeah.
He knew where they all were. But this time he's like looking for them. And it's like, yeah, he can't walk quietly, can he?
No. Another thing I don't like what they've done is that the bit with the ex-wife, or his wife, the way they've thrown that in, and that seemed a bit. I don't know.
That's what I think was missing from the film. The development of that story, because Robocop 1 sort of hints at him becoming more human. You know, that's what it's about, isn't it? It's about you're creating a monster, but he's still got his human emotions. And in this one, they just sort of like start it off with him stalking his wife and remembering his kid when he gets shot, doesn't he, by the little boy, and then he pictures his son. The scene where he's being questioned by OCP and they're like, what the hell are you doing? You know, why are you following her? You're ruining her life. And I thought, oh, this is good. You know, I can't remember this. His face, just brilliant. And just, he looks like a little naughty schoolboy being told off, doesn't he? And he can't look at them. And he's like...
Yeah, that's good acting. Just the way you think it's a bloke. He's sat in that suit and he can still portray that emotion. That's good acting.
All you can see is his face, isn't it?
That's good. That's good acting.
He's just got everything. Then when the wife comes in and he walks over to her and she's like, Alex, is it you? And he's like, touch me. And she touches his lip and she's like, it's cold. And he's like, I'm not your husband, or something like that.
I'm not your husband. Your husband's dead.
And then that's it. They drop it then, don't they?
Yeah, you see her go out to the car and Robocop looks at her through the window, peeks through the blind. And that's it. But I wonder if they pick that up in the third one. I can't remember.
No, they don't.
They don't?
No.
Yeah, so it's like just thrown in there for the sake of, I better just mention it.
Yeah. Do they change him then? Is that something to do with why they change him?
No, that happens, and then that's when he gets kidnapped, isn't it, and dismantled.
Oh, and that's when he changes.
I'm trying to think, how did they get him?
Oh, Duffy, the policeman.
Oh, of course, he had a corrupt copper.
Tells Robocop where to find Kane. I mean, that Duffy, as soon as he turns up in the police station at the beginning, showing the keys. Hey, ladies in the prison, I've got keys. And you think, oh, this bloke's a prick.
Yeah, straight away.
And then he goes round the corner and he's on
Nuke.
He's on Nuke as well. But you see Robocop walk past, and just as he's doing it,
I thought he was going to come in.
I was expecting Robocop to like hear it and come back.
I thought exactly the same thing. I just thought that was a bit, made him look a bit dumb.
Yeah. So Duffy sort of tells him where Kane is, and then they send him. Kane's warehouse is a bit weird. It's got like Elvis's grave there,
grave and guitar.
They dug up Elvis's body, and it's in a glass tomb.
In a glass tomb with the guitar next.
Is
to
Elvis buried in a glass tomb? Is that a thing?
I doubt it.
I'm going to Google it. He's buried in a £900 copper coffin.
Bloody hell.
So yeah, they smash him up. And it's a bit like the scene in the first one, isn't it? Where
he's looking up through his
where he's being
visor.
Created, and it's mostly through his visor.
I thought that was quite well done, actually, the way they've done that. He didn't put up much of a fight, though.
No, they bolted him down.
And he's taken apart.
Well, they bring the magnet in first, didn't they?
Oh, that was it. They pick him up on a magnet.
They pick him up and they smash him up, and the boy's like, "Oh, I want to see his brain."
Yeah, they say he's got a brain. I want to see it.
And later on, when they're hacking up Duffy as well, I just hate the character of Duffy. I just think it was shit.
Yeah,
It's too cartoony, you know?
Yeah.
Oh, Kane! Oh, it's really good to see you. Oh, I really...
Yeah.
He's a chat. They're obviously going to fucking kill him.
It was more Police Academy,
over
wasn't it?
The top. Oh, he did remind me of the bloke at Police Academy 2. You know, Binky, the litter tray. And then he starts eating the cereal that the cat's shit in. He reminds me of that character.
He was a stupid character. And then he gets chopped up, doesn't he?
And then the operator bloke was pretty sinister looking. I think he would have made a good Kane, to be honest.
And then Kane's girlfriend says, "You said you were only going to scare him. Doesn't he look scared?" And he's like just getting butchered on a table.
But the doctor's like, "Do you want to get rid of the kid?" And then Kane's like,
"Oh yeah," turns his head.
Why?
Yeah, why?
he says, doesn't he? And then Duffy's like, get rid of the kid, that's a good touch, I like that, stop fooling around now.
Stupid.
I couldn't wait to see
it isn't a touch on the first
No,
one,
it's silly.
So then, he gets smashed up.
Yeah, the way he's all contorting and that, the suit, it is some good special effects.
Yeah, they're wheeling him in. Like, you got to keep him alive. He's just like a bit of twitchy skin.
So he's got a doctor on his side, isn't he? A female doctor who's like...
out for his best interests.
And then there's that Dr. Fax, who's...
baddie OCP.
She's the one who wants to make a Robocop 2.
Yeah.
And Johnson's like...
he doesn't like her at all.
He's put out by it, but then he finds out she wants to use a criminal, which, just doesn't make sense.
No.
At all.
Especially the main criminal at that time. It's a bit of a bad idea, isn't it?
But like the whole reason for this was because when they're doing the tests of the Robocop 2s at the beginning, and the first one comes out, and he just like shoots the woman next to it, doesn't he? Then he shoots the doctor in the arm, and you see at this point Johnson, who's like there at the presentation, he drops to his knees and he crawls out of shot. I laughed at that, the way he crawled out. But then at the same time, I'm like laughing, but thinking, I don't want to laugh at this.
No,
I want a violent, shocking film again.
Yeah.
And then he shoots himself, doesn't it, that Robocop?
That's right. Yeah.
And then the next Robocop comes in, lifts up his visor and just dies.
Out of skull.
Pulls his face off or something.
Yeah, but that's it. Pulls his own face off.
And it's all because no one is as good at coping with the strain, the pressures of becoming a robot as Murphy was.
So
because he was Irish, they said.
So instead of using that, they went, so we'll use that, but we have the complete polar opposite and have a psychopathic, drug addict, Manson-esque. Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
But Johnson's like, this can't happen. This is ridiculous. He goes into that sauna room, didn't he? And the old man is sat in that jacuzzi.
Didn't like all that either.
And then in walks Miss Fax, and he's obviously having this thing with her, isn't he?
Yeah, and she gets in.
Yeah, she gets in with him. And is she stringing him along, or is he, but at the end, when it all goes tits up, he's like, yeah, let's fuck her off, basically, doesn't he? But he doesn't say it to her face. He says it to Johnson at the end.
He says it to Johnson. She comes out, and then he turns and goes, Johnson, that thing we were talking about, get on it right away.
Yeah, and then come in my car, my dear. Yeah. Just get one more suck off you.
Yeah.
Probably, something like that.
Something like that would probably happen.
Yeah.
And then, we got to talk about, I suppose, Kane becoming...
Robocop 2.
Yeah.
Am I ruining it for you?
What?
You enjoyed the film and now I'm making you hate it.
I don't know.
I don't hate it.
I think it's because I'm comparing it to the first one. It's like every part of the first one, every scene, there isn't a bit I don't like. Where this, I think you're right, nostalgia. I think I've enjoyed it because of the nostalgia, but talking to you now and picking it apart, it's like, yeah, you're right, that was a bit shit, wasn't it? Yeah, why did they do that? Why did his suit look different?
I didn't mind the suit. I actually liked the bluish hue, and I always did when I was younger. I always like, look how it's a bit more sort of James Cameron almost,
Yeah.
And the shot where he's talking to his wife when she pokes him on the lip, but the camera moves around him and the back of the head, it just looks awesome.
The blue and it's all printed circuitry. Yeah, I must admit, it's just I think it's just they just polished everything. They just tried. The first film's a success. The budget for the second one's probably they got a bigger budget, I'd imagine.
Yeah,
there's more interest in it. What can we do? And it just felt a bit.
I didn't like the design of Robocop 2.
No, it looked shit.
Like Ed 209 is just like you said last week, iconic.
Yeah, it's almost like an alien, isn't it? Out of Aliens, but it's got that sort of round, and it's got the black mesh.
Yeah, it's like just a big sensor on the head, isn't it? Can't see it. Just
but this Robocop Robo 2, which is a shit name as well, shit name for a film, but Robocop 2. There's nothing, no features. Even the hands were just like 3-prong.
Yeah,
Robocop's proper nimble, isn't it? With his little this thing. Hello. How's he going to use a mouse with those things?
Yeah.
You know?
But Robocop, you didn't see his data spike come out in this one, did you?
No, you didn't see that. No, you saw his gun.
Yeah, but it's Phil Tippett again done the stop motion animation. Who done Ed 209? But I think they've overused it.
Yeah, it didn't look as good.
It's like watching Wallace and Gromit.
It is,
wasn't it?
Yeah. Especially when Robocop 2's got hold of Robocop 1 and he's swinging him around. It's very Wallace and Gromit stop motion. Yeah, whereas the first one it's more subtle.
Yeah, and they're climbing up the elevator shaft.
Because I remember watching the first one. It's actually still pretty good, really. It looked good.
Yeah, and it's because they just use little bits, isn't it?
Yeah, but when you
Don't
see too much
overdo
of
it.
something, that's like CGI today, like I said about the Transformers films. It's just,
Yeah.
CGI's good, let's fill the whole film with it. Ugh. It's like, no.
Also, the scene in Robocop 2 where they're having a fight and they fall off the building and it goes...
That's right.
It's got a fucking Roadrunner whistle.
And I thought exactly the same. And it is. It's like, you expect TNT and flipping Wile E. Coyote.
Just see like a cloud of smoke.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Whenever the film has an overlay of, say, the robots,
Yeah.
the quality of the actual film around it
Drops.
Yeah.
Significantly.
It's almost like a video.
I almost think that it's worse in this film than in the first film, like we'd said.
Yeah, it is. It's definitely worse.
It's really obvious.
And I think it's because they use it too much as well.
Do you know what? We started this podcast and I was saying I quite enjoyed this film. As I really didn't. I fucking hate it now. It was shit, isn't it?
Oh, I don't know.
And that's before he even fucking flies.
Yeah, he does fly in the third one. What was your high? You said your best bit was, what did you say?
I just like that sort of section where he gets reprogrammed and he gets up and he's out and he's just all chipper and he gets spray painted. Mm-hmm. And then there's the bit where Lewis shoots the guy in the head and she goes in the shop where all them kids are holding up the shop. And she hears Murphy outside talking and he's talking to the dead corpse, isn't he? And she's like...
He's reading his rights.
Yeah, that's it. She's like, he's dead, Murphy. And he's like, I'm having some trouble.
Like you said last week with the pause.
Yeah, the pause.
Having some
trouble.
But yeah. I love the stance he's got when he's holding him.
Yeah, he's got him like that.
Leaning into him with his arm like that.
Yeah, it's not even
pointing.
a gun, is it? It's just pointing at him, isn't he? With his finger, like telling him off. I quite like that bit of the film.
There's the bit as well where he shoots
like the weird
around the bloke smoking. Thank you for not smoking.
And he shoots around him, doesn't he? Brilliant.
That used to be played in the cinemas. Do you remember when you used to go into the cinema and they'd always play that before the film?
What? Robocop shooting around the bloke?
Just that clip, yeah.
No,
Thank you for not smoking. And then used to say, no smoking in the cinemas.
But yeah, for me, I enjoyed that bit where he's off the rails a little bit. And I enjoyed the adverts.
What was the other one?
The sunscreen.
Sunscreen 5000 or something.
They say that 20 seconds in the California sun is too much these days, ever since we lost the ozone layer. And apply a pint of this cream to your body, and you're good for hours. And I'll see you by the pool. And she's covered in this, she covers herself in this
blue and green.
Blue looks like some hippie Smurf.
She looks like the old one out of the X-Men, doesn't she?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, Mystique. And then it comes up at the end about the product, and it's warning: too much use can cause cancer. Yeah, quite like that. And then is that the only other advert?
There wasn't that many, was there?
The car electrocution one. No, I'll buy that for $1.
There is something in the news I heard to go. State Attorney Sphincter says that made me laugh. To the news reports, though, they are a great way to sort of
set the scene,
to drive the narrative, aren't they, in the story and push it on?
Because there's the bit where the police suddenly abandon the picket lines and get back to work.
Because of Robocop,
there's all that.
G's them on a bit, doesn't he?
And that's told to you by a news segment, I believe. And so yeah, it does. It feeds the narrative through.
So then it's like the OCP police versus the Detroit police, isn't it?
And the mayor and the town.
And it's
the city hall and all that.
Recognised one of the policemen on the picket line, the main guy, the little ginger bloke, was one of the sisters out of Shawshank Redemption.
Really?
Do you remember the sisters? The two?
Yeah, again, that's a film I haven't seen for ages. Yeah. And then obviously we didn't talk about all the cops you better save him, he's one of us. Can't you change him back? They're like, no, we haven't got the equipment here. And then Robocop gets up, walks outside and just grabs the electricity.
Yeah, he just knows to do that.
And they're like, yeah, we haven't got the equipment in there, but if he just does that, that's fine. Full factory reset.
It's just stupid. Everything's so convenient.
And the way they pick him up, I didn't like it when they picked him up.
No.
He fries himself, and then it looks like they put a little black blanket under him. And there's about 6 or 7 of them. And they're going, oh, he's heavy.
Look, he'd be bloody roasting hot, wouldn't he? He's still metal. He's probably holding all that electricity.
I think one of them does go, oh, be careful, he might be a bit hot. Oh, yeah.
But where I was saying last week, where they'd like set something up and then in the next scene they'd follow it through. But it's told a cohesive story from start to finish, didn't it, Robocop?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Whereas this is just like comedy sketch, comedy. And it's just like, oh shit, we've smashed him up. Now we need him back together. Oh, and now we've got all the directives and now we need him back to normal. How are we going to do that? It's all easy ways out. There's nothing. There's like the end, there's no like through line for the film, I didn't think. There's no story. There's no character arc. There's nothing. There's nothing to follow.
You think of the characters in the first film, like you had Boudica and his henchmen. They're all awesome, weren't they? All the baddies. Yeah. Then you had Dick Jones. You had Bob.
Yeah, they're all good characters, but you're still following Murphy. It's still his story.
It's still his story, but just those characters fitted perfectly. With this, they've reinvented the old man. Johnson's now number 2. All right.
And he's just a comedy.
What other characters? Lewis has now got nice hair. What else?
Kane and his goons. I mean, one of Kane's henchman just looks like a rockabilly or something. It's like, what is it all supposed to be? But yeah, like Murphy just doesn't have the payoff at the end of Robocop was him realising in the third act that he was Murphy, you know, and the unveiling of his helmet shows you that he's Murphy, and then he looks in the mirror and he knows. And then at the end, when he sorts everything out, he gets rid of Clarence Boudica, he goes in and he reveals Dick Jones, and then the end is like, you know, what's your name, son? Murphy.
Murphy.
And it's like, that was his character, that was his arc. And then that's just gone in this film.
Lazy writing.
But after his wife's gone, there's no sort of pivotal storyline that you're really rooting for.
Because when Matey first wrote Robocop and he had an idea and he was pitching it and he got to make his film, there was passion and that in there. And then money gets involved. The film was successful, so we need to churn it out. And it just, that passion, that love hasn't gone into Robocop 2.
No.
They're trying to emulate, obviously a different director, but they're trying to emulate parts of the first film that doesn't pay off. The storyline's weak and just, I mean, it's so predictable, and then it's like, it gets to that, you're an hour and a half in to the film and it's like, oh, we better finish it, and then it's the big fight and then the film ends. It's just lazy.
But it's like there was no payoff at the end. It was
I'm trying to think because how it finishes. Robocop 2 blows up. The old man gets in the car with what's that name?
Fax.
And then Robocop's got the drill, isn't he? And his socket set or something. He's tightening his helmet, and I can't even think what he says.
Yeah, what does he say?
Because the first one ends, "What's your name, officer?" Murphy. And bang,
that's it.
Credits come up. You're like, whoa, he's Murphy. He's done full circle. This one, I can't even remember what the end line was.
No, and it's so shit. But then when the music starts, the music is awful in this film, isn't it?
Yeah, it hasn't. Yeah, it's got,
but the last
we talked about that last time. The impact of the music.
Did you watch the end credits? About 3 or 4 minutes in, or no, not even that. About a minute in,
no, I didn't watch it.
It's all like Robocop.
Oh, you're joking!
It's a Robocop.
Oh my god!
What the fuck is this like? You know,
I'm gonna have to check that out now.
Yeah. Oh, right. The last line of dialogue.
He's screwing his helmet.
Lewis says, "That son of a bitch is getting away with it. We can't even touch him." Talking about the old man.
Yeah, Lewis says
and
that.
And then Robocop says, "Patience, Lewis." That's the last line of the film.
That's it.
Hinting that he is going to get his comeuppance in part 3.
Part 3.
But like
Robocop flies into
OCP had done it like when they're doing their presentation of Robocop 2. Do they not think when they're putting up their banners, this looks very much like Nazi Germany? Do they not think that? Even the OCP police look like fucking stormtroopers.
Yeah, and they SS. Some of them
that's
wearing,
what I mean.
Long
like the
coats.
SS.
Yeah, went on the street.
It's too on the nose. Yeah, I don't know. And
the corporate scenes with the OCP with Johnson and that, they weren't the same either.
No.
In the first one, it was like you could feel it.
Yeah, because it was the 80s. It was a product of the 80s, and that was all going on then. The yuppies, weren't they? You know, Reagan's America.
I know there was one shot where it's Johnson and the old man walking down a corridor. I don't know, it just looks weird, and you can tell that they're not people who walk down corridors.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean. Oh, I hate the film. I'd have given it 3 stars at the beginning. I'll give it 2 now. There's that bit where she's Dr. What is it? Dr.
Fax.
Fax. She's trying to recondition Murphy, Robocop, and she keeps turning to type on her computer, and it's that massive monitor.
Well, that's what I was going to say as well.
And it's flickering. It's like cameras don't pick it up very well.
Like when the kids was raiding that shop as well, and it's like tape cassette Walkmans and like big boxy TVs, and it's just like they couldn't even
Boom
make
boxes.
it look futuristic, could they?
They
didn't even bother. It's just like this. In this future, everything has remained the same since 1990.
Apart from the technology of Robocop.
I did notice, you remember last week I said that the blonde rapist was out of Police Academy. He was Copeland. Well, in this one, in the opening scene when they go into the Nuke factory, which is a great scene. I do love it. Like any of the scenes with Murphy, just at the beginning, he hardly says anything. He's just going on this mission, isn't he? Trying to track down Nuke. And he goes into this little room where all the Oriental women are...
That's right, yeah.
Making the nuke. And then the bloke who gets the baby, and he's holding the gun to the baby's head, isn't he?
Oh, he does the ricochet shot.
Yeah, which is a great shot. You know, there are some.
That is actually quite good. That bit was actually quite good.
But that bloke with the baby, I'm sure he's one of Zed's gang in Police Academy 2.
Bit of a theme there.
Yeah.
I wonder why that is. Why there's...
They must all be on the same casting agencies.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Irvin Kershner, as we said, directed this one. It was his last film that he ever directed.
Oh, what? Because it was so bad? Or...
Nancy Allen, she's said in an interview that she hated, not just working with Kershner, she absolutely hated Kershner.
Oh,
so
really?
I don't know what that was all about. And then Paul Verhoven couldn't direct this one. He didn't want to anyway because he didn't want it to be cashing in. He said he'd do it, but it had to be the right script at the right time. And he went on and done Total Recall at the time that they was doing Robocop 2. And then I was saying as well that Orion Pictures was hinging the success of Robocop 2 on their survival, basically, and they did. They went under after Robocop 2. But they also had, I think it was the same year, Dances with Wolves, which earned loads of Oscars and fucking
brilliant. That's a great
made
film.
Loads of money, and Silence of the Lambs, but they still went under.
And it's all Robocop 2's fault.
Probably.
It's because they all got hooked on Nuke,
They
mate.
did, didn't they? Old nukers. So, I can't think of anything else to say about Robocop 2, can you?
No, I think this point last time I still had loads of pages to...
Yeah.
But yeah, it was... I think you nailed it by saying nostalgia. And I think I've watched it in bits, as I say, and it was just nostalgic. But now we've dissected it a bit. It wasn't a touch.
It's hard going to watch all at once. You've watched it in 3 bits, and it's probably like you just pick it up and like you can quite easily enjoy 3 20-minute sections, do you know?
Yeah, there's some films you have to focus on.
Whereas I was losing interest watching it when I watched it all in one.
Yeah.
The end half, I wasn't even watching it anymore. I'd gone on my phone and I was titting about.
It's one of them, innit? You got, because the last part was like the last 15 minutes. I think him and Kane had just started battling, and I was like, oh, I need to watch the end of that film. Do you think I could get... And I was like, I'm doing this podcast with Trev. I should actually watch the end of it. But that sums it up, doesn't it? That I was prepared to not even watch it because it was so predictable. And
but it's like that's what I said. There's nothing in it. There's nothing in it to grip you, to drag. There's nothing to pull you through the story. It's just a series of events you're watching.
And what a weak final line. Yeah.
Stan,
yes, my friend.
Thank you for joining me again.
No, it's a pleasure, mate. It's a pleasure.
Everyone, thank you for listening. If you have enjoyed this podcast and you would love to hear other podcasts of us talking about movies, then please do like us, subscribe to us, follow us, share us. Anything that helps to get us out there to a wider audience would be much appreciated. Thanks everyone for listening, and we will see you all again soon.
Cheers, everyone. All the best.
Chase!
The family